Part 151. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei-Shi Niang. Chapter 1502. The purpose of our visit this time is to require your company to redeem its corporate bonds in advance in accordance with the original agreement between us, in view of the fact that the chairman of your company has provided external guarantees without authorization, resulting in huge operating risks, lawyer Xie said. Zhang Chen couldn't help but say, but this risk has been resolved now, and the matter has been resolved. No, lawyer Xie said. Not only has the risk not been resolved, but it has continued to expand and may become uncontrollable. How is that possible? Zhang Chen said. How is it impossible? Lawyer Xie asked. Which of you can contact Mr. Liu? Mr. Zhang, you. Or Miss Tan? Zhang Chen and Tan Shahen looked at each other, both speechless. Lawyer Xie continued, as far as we know, the reason why this incident was resolved was not that Mr. Liu Ligan stepped forward to resolve it himself, but that you, Mr. Zhang, stepped forward to help solve the problem without his knowing it. Tan Shahen had no choice but to respect the facts, so she could only nod. Mr. Liu has lost contact now. Whether it is us or you, does anyone know whether this is the only guarantee he has signed? Or whether he may behave similarly in the future? That is to say, your company's potential contingent liabilities may be infinite. I said that the risk has not disappeared now, but is expanding. Am I wrong? Lawyer Xie looked at Zhang Chen and asked. Zhang Chen was speechless by his question. Although he knew that Liu Ligan had no other debts and could not sign other guarantees, what could he use to prove this? They feel this way based on their understanding and trust of Liu Ligan. However, as the other party, it is impossible for them to control risks based on the assumption that Liu Ligan is a good person. They can only establish that Liu Ligan is a good person. It is based on the assumption that everyone is a bad person, but systems, norms, and written documents prevent bad people from doing bad things. Zhang Chen understood this truth. He knew that the other party understood it better than him, so he said such words. However, Zhang Chen was still unconvinced. He said, according to your logic, any enterprise may have potential risks. Yes, it is indeed like this. Any company will have it. This is how mortgage guarantees appeared. We can't trust anyone but the consideration relationship, lawyer Xie said. The corporate bonds of your company that we purchased, your company is the equity owned by Mr. Liu, was used as pledge, but this equity has depreciated seriously in the past few days, and the balance of consideration has been seriously tilted. But now, hasn't the stock price gone back up? Zhang Chen said. Yes, we know that, but there is still a risk that it will continue to fall. As long as Mr. Liu does not appear, the risks I mentioned earlier will exist. As long as another similar thing happens, can you guarantee that the stock price will not plummet? Investors, do we still have confidence in your company? We cannot put ourselves in such risks, said lawyer Xie. Then how do you feel that your risks are controllable? Tan Shahen asked. It's very simple. Either you redeem the corporate bonds, or there is another way, which is to add additional guarantees to make the debt risk controllable, lawyer Xie said. Tan Shahen was shocked. It turned out that this was the purpose of the other party's trip. But now that it was at this point, she had no other choice. She had to save the handsome man even if she lost the car. Tan Shahen thought quickly, and finally she was cruel. And lawyer Xie said, yes, we can use the land in Zhang village that we visited in the afternoon as an additional guarantee. Ms. Tan thinks it's okay, but we think it's not. Lawyer Xie shook his head and said, first, we have learned about the value of that piece of land. It is overvalued and not worth the price you auctioned it for. Second, it itself forms part of the value of your company. If this land is pledged, the value of your company will be depreciated. When this announcement is issued, it will probably cause your company's stock price to fall immediately, Mr. Chiao said. Tan Shahen was so angry that she thought about it calmly. What the other party said made sense, but the problem was, if even this didn't work, what more valuable thing could she come up with as additional guarantee? There was another way, but in fact he has been forced to the point of nowhere to go. We hope that your company can give us a clear answer on how to solve the current dilemma, lawyer Xie said. How to solve it, that is, there is no way to solve it. We don't have the money, and you don't want the land given to you. What other solution is there? Tan Shahen thought like this, but she couldn't say that. She thought of Liu Bang, the great ancestor of the Han dynasty, last night. If anything, they couldn't just talk about it all at once, so they had to delay it, so Tan Shahen and Zhang Chen fell silent. Zhang Chen and the others were silent, and lawyer Xie stopped talking. MSCAI had not spoken since lawyer Xie spoke. She just looked at Zhang Chen and Tan Shahen with interest. Everyone was silent. The conference room was in a state of confusion. There was silence. Mr. Chiao coughed and broke the silence. He said to Tan Shahen, "Actually, Mr. Tan, there are not many ways. You don't have to keep an eye on yourself. You can look outward and think of other ways, such as adding a third-party guarantee." Additional third-party guarantee? A guarantee of 4.5 billion, Tan Shahen laughed and said, "Honestly, I don't know such a powerful third party, and I can't find such a guarantee. It's really dark under the lamp. Didn't you see it or didn't you see it? Mr. Tan, how could you not have it?" Mr. Zhang Laojiao looked at Zhang Chen and laughed. "The lakeside we went to see yesterday afternoon oil painting gallery, I estimate it has this value." Zhang Chen and Tan Shahen were shocked again. It turned out that these guys were waiting for them here, with such a big circle ahead. Zhang Chen looked at the four people opposite and said, "Okay, I agree." "No," Tan Shahen shouted. "Why not?" Zhang Chen asked. "That oil painting museum is your hard work over the past few years," Tan Shahen said. "It can't just disappear like this." "Then the Jinxia group is not the hard work of you and Ganzi, so it can be gone like this?" Zhang Chen asked. "Besides, it is just a guarantee, how can it be gone?" "Tan Shahen, you have to have confidence in yourself." "Well said, Mr. Zhang." Miss Cai nodded. "Ms. Tan, Mr. Zhang is right. You must have confidence in yourself. If you don't have confidence, why do you want the management to increase its holdings? The art museum is just a guarantee. As long as you have confidence in yourself, when the time comes, if you repay the company's debt on time, the guarantee will be released." "So, Mr. Zhang agreed to provide additional guarantee for Miss Tan and the others?" lawyer Xie asked. "I agree." Zhang Chen nodded. He looked at Miss Cai and said, "But I have 3 conditions." "Say it, Mr. Zhang." Miss Cai raised her hand. "First, the painting sister cannot be covered by the guarantee," Zhang Chen said. "I understand this." Miss Cai nodded. "I agree." Second, lawyer Xie mentioned the consideration earlier. Let me talk about the consideration. Although the collection of my art museum has not been accurately calculated, according to the current auction market price, the most conservative estimate of our collection is, the value is also over RMB 30 billion, so I ask that you invest an additional RMB 3 billion in Jinxia Group, no matter what form you use. MSCAI nodded and said yes, if after the appraisal by the appraiser, your collection has indeed reached the value. Mr. Zhang said, "I agree to add an additional 3 billion. I will entrust Mr. Chiao to do the specific operation." Mr. Chiao nodded, "Okay." "Mr. Zhang, what's your third request?" Miss Cai asked. "The third point is that after you take over, the museum's exhibitions should not be interrupted and the exhibition hall should not be closed. There are many people in the museum every day who come from all over the country." Before Zhang Chen finished speaking, Miss Cai raised her hand and interrupted him. Miss Cai said, "Mr. Zhang, Please rest assured that there will not be any changes to the art museum, and we will not move any collection. What we will do is to ask professional appraisers and appraisers to evaluate and appraise the collection, and then come up with a catalog of the collection. The collection catalog is an attachment to the guarantee procedure. Mr. Zhang only needs to sign and confirm it. All collections will remain in the art museum. There will be no changes in the art museum. Mr. Zhang, your original team will still be in charge. Lawyer Xie was surprised when he heard this, and quickly said, "This way, our risk is too great. If there is a collection in this." No, Mr. Zhang also knows that if something like that happens, he will be held criminally responsible. "I believe Mr. Zhang will not take this risk." MSCAI laughed and said, "In mainland terms, there is no need to take a trip into this muddy water. Whether Jinxia Group is alive or dead, what does it have to do with him? Xiahua, what do you think?" Xiahua smiled and said, "I admire Brother Zhang very much. I also think that he can stay out of the matter. I don't think he needs to take this risk. I agree to do so." "Actually, we have to do this," MSCAI said. "To be honest, we want to take over the art museum, and I can't find reliable professionals. If we want to move these collections, the risk will be very high, and I have to worry about it. The safety of these collections, if they are damaged or lost, I will have to compensate Mr. Zhang, so it is best to leave them as they are." The chairman is thinking far ahead. "I didn't expect this," Lawyer Xie said, and everyone laughed. Miss Cai looked at Zhang Chen and Tan Shahen and said with a smile, "Mr. Zhang has 3 requests, and I also have 1 request. Miss Tan, I ask you to convene an extraordinary general meeting of shareholders immediately and re-elect the chairman. You will be the chairman. Otherwise, a missing chairman will always be a threat to the company. This is also for your own good." "I agree to," Zhang Chen said. "No," Tan Shahen said. "Why don't you want it?" "If you don't want it, how will the 3 billion come in?" Miss Cai asked. "Let Mr. Chiao sign relevant documents with a chairman who can't be found. Thank you for your monthly ticket, Lu and Fu Sheng, Wai Meng Meng. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all a happy life." The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1503. Everyone got up and left the conference room. When they walked to the corridor outside, they found Lu Bang, the founder of Han Dynasty, and Lin Shuwen, also walking out of Lao Tan's office. It turned out that they received a call from Lao Tan, telling them that Miss Cai, Tan Shahen, and Zhang Chen were having a meeting in the conference room. They knew that there was going to be a showdown tonight, so they rushed over. The meeting in the conference room was still going on. They were waiting in Lao Tan's office. Lu Bang, the emperor of the Han Dynasty, saw Zhang Chen and Tan Shahen coming out and asked anxiously, "Is there any result?" Zhang Chen smiled and said, "Yes." Lu Bang, the emperor of the Han Dynasty, let out a long sigh. Miss Cai walked behind Zhang Chen and the others. She saw Han Emperor Lu Bang and Lin Shuwen, and heard the conversation between Han Emperor Lu Bang and Zhang Chen. Miss Cai asked, "Brother Lu, Awen, why are you here? I understand. Is it because there is no good result today and I still have to be blackmailed by you?" Lu Bang, the great ancestor of the Han Dynasty, said, "Blackmail is not possible, but friends may not be able to do anything." Lin Shuwen said, "No, I know that as long as my brother is here, the matter will be solved." Miss Cai smiled and said, "Fortunately it was resolved, otherwise would I have offended both of you." Everyone laughed. Lu Bang, the emperor of the Han Dynasty, said, "Okay, you have worked hard. I heard that you haven't eaten well all day. Let's go for a midnight snack and celebrate by the way." "What are you celebrating? Do you know how to solve it?" Miss Cai asked. "I don't know." Lu Bang, the founder of the Han Dynasty, said, It doesn't matter how we solve it. It's enough that it has been solved. As soon as he heard that he was going for a late-night snack, Xiaohu immediately asked, "Uncle Lu, is that quackery still open now?" Zhang Chen said that they also serve late-night snacks there. Everyone walked to the parking lot, and Lin Shuwen made sure to drag Miss Cai to ride in her Ferrari. She told Miss Cai, "I want to take you for a ride around Hangzhou." Xiaohu, Mr. Chiao and lawyer Xie got into the car of Lu Bang, the great ancestor of Han Dynasty. Zhang Chen and Tan Shahan got into Lao Tan's car. How was the matter resolved? Lao Tan asked as the car was driving on the road. Tan Shahan told Lao Tan the process and results of the meeting. Lao Tan sighed and said, "Thanks to Zhang Chen's help, not only did we get rid of the plague god, but we also got an extra 3 billion. Now, we will be saved. The financial shortage problem has also been solved. Zhang Chen, Zhen Zhen, and I really want to thank you on behalf of the thousands of employees of our Jinxia group." Zhang Chen said, "Brother, please don't say that. It's the same sentence. We are all one family, and a family cannot distinguish between each other. If we distinguish each other too clearly, we will become divided." Tan Shahan sighed in the darkness. Zhang Chen asked, "What's wrong with you?" "I still feel that it is not appropriate to replace the chairman, and it is even more inappropriate for me to be the chairman. This makes me feel a bit like trying to occupy the magpie's nest," Tan Shahan said. "You are overthinking. You only took over the position of chairman, and Zhang's shares have not been reduced. What is inappropriate? Miss Cai is right. None of us can say when this guy Zhangzi will appear. Without the chairman, all major decisions of your company will be suspended, and there is no way for the 3 billion to come in," Zhang Chen said. "Zhang Chen is right," Lao Tan said, "the company cannot be leaderless. Even if the Pole is not the chairman, he is still the largest shareholder and a member of our company. Zhen Zhen, you can serve as the chairman and let the company return to normal as soon as possible. I am also helping the Pole and preventing his assets from shrinking. The most important thing is that this matter has caused too much commotion. Zhangzi and Meng Ping have not shown up yet. First of all, at this time, whoever shows up will be unlucky. All the creditors will stare at him like flies, so that he couldn't resist at all. Secondly, they probably couldn't figure out how to solve the problem, and they were all confused. Tan Shahan, now that you have taken over as the chairman of Jinxia Group, you can calm down this matter as soon as possible and make the Pole forgotten as soon as possible. This may be good for him and allow him to come back sooner." As Zhang Chen said, Lao Tan and Tan Shahan thought about it and felt that what he said made sense. They had a late-night snack at the Tuxianjiayuan Hotel, and then sent Miss Cai and the others back to the Hyatt Hotel. They got off at the door. Miss Cai came over and said to Tan Shahan, "Ms. Tan, can I ask you and Mr. Zhang to come to my room? I have something to tell you." Tan Shahan said yes. She went to call Zhang Chen, and followed Miss Cai and the others upstairs. Lao Tan and Han Jiaozulu Bang were waiting for them in the lobby downstairs. The two of them followed Miss Cai into the room. Miss Cai closed the door and invited Tan Shahan and Zhang Chen to sit on the sofa in the living room. She took out a piece of paper from her bag, stood there and hesitated for a moment, then said to the two people, "I invited you here because I have a very personal matter. I want to ask your help. I hope that no one else will know about this except you two, including Brother Lu and Awan, okay?" The two people nodded, and Zhang Chen said, "Since it is Miss Cai's personal matter, we will definitely not tell anyone else, don't worry." "Thank you," Miss Cai nodded and said, "I would like to ask you to help me find someone." Miss Cai said, handing them the paper in her hand. Zhang Chen and Tan Shahan looked at it. There was a name and an address written on it. "She used to live here. I went to this place yesterday. It has been demolished a long time ago and new communities have been built. But I only know this address. By the way, this person, everyone usually calls her Alien. But few people know her name, MSCAI said. Tan Shahan said yes, I have many friends in the police and I will find them myself. Don't worry, Miss CAI. MSCAI clasped her hands together again and said to them, thank you. I knew you could be relied on. Lao Ni opened his eyes. The weather was very good today. Lao Ni saw outside the car window a piece of blue sky. A few birds were skating in the blue sky with their wings. There is only one plane in the graceful arc, walking in a straight line, dragging a white tail. Looking at this plane, Lao Ni thought of his Prime Minister number 1 that was still parked at Xiaoshan Airport. When he thought of Prime Minister No. 1, a string of laughter like silver bells seemed to ring in his ears. It came from the countless women he brought on the plane. Every woman who got on the plane seemed to have a particularly clear voice, and the cabin quickly filled up. Lao Ni used to particularly like hearing such voices, so every woman he targeted would be taken on a plane to Hong Kong, Sanya, Kunming, Beijing, and every city they wanted to visit. Lao Ni shook his head and blinked. The plane in the sky flew away and disappeared. The birds were left behind, continuing to glide as if nothing happened. Lao Ni in the car thought of Lao Ni on the plane. Everything seemed very far away and strange. The person who looked very much like him seemed not to be him. Lao Ni in the car even had some doubts about what he had just seen. Was everything he imagined, and did he really own a Prime Minister number 1 plane? If I had a plane, why would I be trapped in this car? Lao Ni himself was confused. He even doubted whether he had really seen a plane flying in the sky just in front of him. How could it be that he was dazzled? Those birds didn't seem to know they were tired and were flying in the sky. They didn't care what Lao Ni was thinking, and they didn't care whether there was an airplane flying above them. Lao Ni straightened his seat, sat up, and looked outside. He suddenly became nervous. He saw 2 sanitation workers who had just passed by his car. After they walked past, they whispered to each other and kept talking. Look back towards him. They turned in from a path in front. Lao Ni saw that the path was deep and there was a house hidden among the trees. It seemed to be the building of the Qianzhong New Town Management Committee. Did they go and call someone? Lao Ni quickly started the car and turned around to Fukun Road. He turned left and drove straight ahead. He passed the Hangzhou City new government building that had been built but not yet put into use. He almost reached the Qianzhong Bridge and then turned left. A small road. Here, it should be more than 1,000 meters away from the place where he parked in front of him. Lao Ni pulled over the car, turned off the engine, put down the seat, and prepared to continue taking a nap. Lao Ni himself didn't know why he was so easily sleepy and tired when he was sitting in the car with nothing to do all day long. He was climbing up and down next to women, which surprised the girls. As an old man approaching 60, he still feels tired. Lao Ni closed his eyes, but couldn't fall asleep. After he made that phone call to his daughter, and her daughter told him that his mother was being pressed for debt every day, and people often blocked the door to scold him, Lao Ni would often thinking of this incident, I couldn't stop thinking about how strong his mother was. I didn't know how she could endure such humiliation. Lao Ni really wanted to know how his mother was doing now. Lao Ni thought to himself, no matter whether you find out or not, I want to make a call. Lao Ni wants to call his daughter and ask her, how is the Empress doing now? Lao Ni took out his mobile phone and battery from the middle of the truck, and installed the battery. When he found his daughter's number, he hesitated. He thought of his daughter's cries, and the sound was like a needle pricking her. It hurt him. Lao Ni sighed, took out the battery again, and threw the battery and mobile phone back into the truck bed. A group of children lined up and passed by his car. A teacher was leading them. They were first and second grade students from some elementary school. They came to Qianzhong New Town for an autumn outing. The teacher probably didn't know the road well, so he led them indiscriminately. Bring them to this road. Lao and I watched the long team disappear around the corner, and then reappeared after a while. It turned out that this was a dead-end road. Two female teachers were slapping each other and laughing. They were probably laughing at themselves. They were brought here. Those children didn't care, they were still in high spirits. It seemed that as long as they left the classroom and went outside to do anything, their faces would be very vivid. Lao and I looked at their innocent looks. He couldn't remember what he was like when he was their age. He just felt a little envious in his heart. How great would it be if he could go back to when he was their age? I will definitely live this life well again. He must not be like now, driving a luxury car worth more than 1 million yuan, but wandering around like a dog. This luxury car is just a doghouse for him. Not even a doghouse. Lao and I muttered that the kennel did not need to be moved around. Thank you for the reward of 2 fishes at 3 o'clock in the middle of the night. Thank you to Lao Shenzasang and book friend 2020226135023200 for your monthly votes. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 1504. At about 10 o'clock in the evening, Lao and I parked his car in an open space on the side of the road outside the village and walked into the village in the dark. The road leading to the village was a cement road. This road was originally built with donations from Lao and I. Is the first cement road in more than a dozen surrounding villages. When the road was just built, at night, the street lights along the way were lit up. People in the village liked to walk on this cement road. They felt like they were in the city. Children liked to play under the street lights, and there were also naughty children who would stand under the street lamp, throw a stone upward, and compete to see who can knock down the street lamp. Sometimes the street lamp was not smashed down, and the falling stone hit the person on the head. The person who was hit cried wow loudly, and everyone fled in a hurry. In the summer, every household moved the table to the cement road to have dinner. After dinner, the dishes and chopsticks were put away, and then there was playing cards and mahjong. This road made the people in their village very proud at that time. When talking to people from other villages, they would not mention their own village name, but the village with the brightest light at night. This cement road leads to the courtyard entrance of every household in the village, and the street lights also shine at the courtyard entrance of each household. Isn't it the brightest village? But now, all the street lights on this road are broken. The villagers don't care about it, and the village cotters don't bother to take care of it. Everyone would rather go out at night with a flashlight than collect some money to repair the street lights. In fact, Lao Ni still gives a lot of money to the village every year. He remembers that there is money for repairing street lights every year. However, when the money reaches the village, it is not repaired at all. Lao Ni does not know where it is used. I don't know how many times Lao Ni scolded the village cotters in person. When you scolded them, they laughed and said to Lao Ni, "Zhijan, you don't know how much the village's expenses are now. It's a lot of work to deal with the various inspection groups every year. Can't handle it?" Tonight, when Lao Ni walked to the village in the dark, he was grateful to the village cotters. Fortunately, they had not repaired the street lights, otherwise he would not even dare to walk on this road, and would have to dig back through the fields and ditches. Go home. Although Lao Ni can still walk home from all the paths with his eyes closed, the late rice harvest in the fields has been finished, and wheat and rapeseed seedlings are planted there. The fields are bare. People are walking in the fields, but others are far away. You can see it, it is more eye-catching than walking on the road. It was already a bit cold in the November night. Lao Ni took a down jacket from the back seat and put it on his body. This down jacket served as his quilt at night. Lao Ni wrapped his hands tightly in his down jacket and walked inside cautiously. People in the countryside go to bed early at night and get up early in the morning. Lao Ni looked at the village and saw that only a few sparse houses still had their lights on. Only then did Ni feel more relieved. When we reached the entrance of the village, there was an archway. The archway was a newly built cement archway with the words "Civilized Village" written on it. Not far past the archway was Lao Ni's parents' home. His parents' house is a two-story building with a large courtyard at the door. Usually only his parents are at home. During the spring festival, Lao Ni will bring his whole family back home. However, in the past 2 years, Lao Ni has been living in the house during the spring festival. He is very busy and rarely goes home. His wife takes his place and brings the whole family back. Lao Ni's sister, who lives on the other side of the village, would come over every day to visit and bring some vegetables home. Lao Ni's parents are both restless people. When the house was first built, Lao Ni poured cement into the entire yard and built a large fish pond with a rockery inside and a tree on the rockery. The powerful 5-needle pine. He also built flower beds and other things in the yard, but his father knocked them down, saying they were useless things. His father also knocked out the cement floor and turned the entire yard into a vegetable patch. The food was served. Lao Ni saw that the 2 old men were working in the fields every day, and their health was getting better and better, so he gave up. The output of a yard of vegetable fields is more than enough for the 2 elderly people and their sister to eat, and neighbors often come over to cut some of it back. Lao Ni walked to the courtyard door of his parents' house, feeling a little strange. Why was the courtyard door open, but the 2 stainless steel doors were missing? Lao Ni didn't have time to think about it, so he walked through the vegetable fields on both sides and walked in front of the house. Lao Ni was even more surprised. Why was the door in front of the hall not even closed? The hole was open and it was dark inside. When Lao Ni took a step closer, he realized, it's not that the door is not closed, but that the door here is also gone. Lao Ni felt panicked for a while. He thought that no one was living in this house anymore. In order to avoid those people who blocked the door and scolded him, his mother had gone to his sister's house or his brother's house in Shaoxing City. Lao Ni crossed the threshold and reached out to touch the switch on the wall on the right side of the door. He pressed it several times, but the light did not turn on. Lao Ni was wondering why even the lights were broken, when a voice rang. Which one? It was his mother's voice. Lao Ni quickly said, "Me. Zhijin, is it Zhijin?" I asked in a low voice. Lao Ni said, "It's me." There was a rustle in the room, and a ball of light lit up, the light of a candle. Lao Ni hurriedly walked towards the room on the right in front of the hall. As soon as he reached the door, he was stunned by the scene in front of him. Under the dim light, he saw that the room was empty, with nothing except a bed near the corner, supported by a few bricks and a board. Lao Ni's parents were getting up from the bed. Lao Ni couldn't help but exclaimed, and his father quickly said, "Please be gentle." When Lao Ni approached, his mother lowered her voice and scolded her harshly, "What are you doing back here? Do you know how many people in the village are looking for you? If they see you, you will suffer." His father said, Jiangang, who runs a textile machinery factory, also owed money and refused to pay it back, so he was hung from a tree for 2 days. Lao Ni seemed to understand what was going on. He knelt down on the ground with a plop. He had already burst into tears and cried, "Sweetie, Mom, I'm sorry, it was me who hurt you." The old woman sighed and blew out the candle with a pop. She said, be gentle, don't be heard by others, Zhijin, get up quickly, the ground is cold." Lao Ni moved to the bed, stood up and sat on the wooden board. He was still worried that the wooden board could not bear the weight of 3 people, So he only dared to sit on it with half his butt. Lao Ni asked why this happened at home. His parents told him that all the things that could be moved at home had been moved away by those who wanted debts. Those who came late saw that there was nothing easy to take, so they moved the door and wall. All the electricity meters were taken away. When Lao Ni heard this, he became angry. He said, "Tell me who did it? These people have gone too far. Usually, if I don't take care of them or if they have trouble at home, they all come to me for help. How could you do this?" Lao Ni's father sighed and said, "What's the use of talking about this now? After all, it's you who owes them money, and you're telling you that you can go find them? It's better if they don't find you." After listening to this, Lao Ni felt sad, and then he realized that he was no longer the same Lao Ni he used to be. If you still had the ability to find someone, you wouldn't have to hide all day long. Lao Ni asked his parents why his sister didn't care about them. His mother said, "No matter what, her family has money in your factory, and she can't get it back now. The two of them are quarreling every day, so it's a good thing that your sister hasn't been kicked out of the house." Lao Ni said, "No, get up and follow me to Hangzhou." His father said, "Don't hide it from us. The people who came to ask for debts have all told us about your situation. Where else can you live in Hangzhou? They don't know where you might stay. How many times have I passed it?" Lao Ni was stunned. Yes, if they followed him, where else could they go? Like him, they lived in the car all day long and regarded the small roads in Jianzhong New Town as their home. The old lady said, "Zhijian, please leave us alone. We are relieved to see that you are fine. At our age, we will not go out. I am afraid that if we leave this village, it will not be so easy to come back. In the end, a handful of old bones with no place to bury them." Lao Ni held his mother's hand, and every word of his mother's words stuck in his heart. He kept crying in the dark, feeling that although the world was so big, there was no room for him. When he was wealthy, he could fly in the sky in his own plane. When he was depressed, even if there was a hole in the ground, he would want to get in and hide. The dogs in the village started barking, and the three of them pricked up their ears to listen. There seemed to be a faint sound of someone talking. My mother immediately panicked and said to Lao Ni, "Go quickly, Zhijian, someone must have seen you. You go quickly and take the small door at the back." The sound got closer and closer. Lao Ni quickly stood up and ran to the front of the hall. He ran to the small door at the back. The small door was also an opening without a door. After running out, the backyard was an open space surrounded by a bamboo fence. Lao Ni opened the fence. Open the door and arrive in the fields outside. The wheat seedlings in the field had already formed a layer of dew, soaking his trousers. Lao Ni ignored this and ran out of the village in a panic. The louder the dogs in the village barked, the faster Lao Ni ran. It was so dark that he could walk in the field with his eyes closed. He was so panicked that he fell into a small river. In the countryside of Shaoxing, there are many places. There are crisscrossing rivers. Lao Ni got up from the river. He was already wet. He continued to run outside the village, falling twice in the process. Water filled his shoes and down jacket, which made a gurgling sound when he ran. Lao Ni ran to the side of the car. The barking of the dog was far away. When he stopped, everything was silent. Only his heart was beating. Lao Ni looked around. It seemed that no one was chasing him. Lao Ni only then did I feel relieved. Lao Ni opened the car door but did not get in. He also felt it in the dark night. His wet body was covered with mud. If he got into the car would definitely be a mess. Lao Ni took off his down jacket, grabbed the collar with both hands, and threw it hard, trying to get rid of the mud on it. At this time, a motorcycle drove over from the opposite side. It suddenly stopped 7 or 8 meters away from Lao Ni. The motorcycle's headlights shined directly into Lao Ni's eyes. Lao Ni couldn't see clearly who the person opposite was. The motorcycle was parked there, and Lao Ni could feel the rider looking at him. The motorcycle restarted and drove towards the village. After a while, Lao Ni heard the sound of the motorcycle coming from a distance, and a voice shouted, "Zhijan! Zhijan! I saw Zhijan on the road outside the village." Many houses in the village turned on their lights one after another. Lao Ni quickly got into the car, started the car and ran away. "Thank you for the reward at the age of 48. Thank you Xiaoshen Nianfang 48, Dragon, Lu, and Shijiaz Wang Jiaozi for your monthly votes. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you a nice weekend." The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Niang. Chapter 1505. Zhang Chen got up in the morning and went to his parents' place to have breakfast. The two land reclamation warriors had already eaten and were sitting there watching TV. They were watching the morning news from Hangzhou TV station. Zhang Chen sat there and heard that Lao Zhang was saying, "It's really strange. It's so shallow that you can climb out just by opening the window. Why didn't he climb out?" "Chen Chen, Chen Chen," Lao Zhang shouted, when the car just fell into the water, "were the electric windows still usable?" Zhang Chen smiled and said, "How do I know? I have never fallen into the water." As he spoke, he stretched his head curiously and stood up. He saw on the TV screen a crane lifting a car from a small river. That river was indeed what Lao Zhang said. Only 7 or 8 meters wide, and the water could not be deep. Zhang Chen even felt that if he hadn't aimed straight, it would be difficult to land right in the middle of the river. What attracted Zhang Chen even more was that the car he saw being hoisted looked familiar, and then he immediately remembered that the car Lao Ni drove was the same Lexus LS 460, wasn't it? And they are all dark gray. Zhang Chen took a closer look and saw that the car was facing the camera sideways, but unfortunately he couldn't see the license plate. The TV screen quickly passed and the next news started to play. Zhang Chen asked Lao Zhang, "What happened to the car just now?" "It was said that a car fell into the water in front of the government office. Look at such a small river, but no one ran out and even drowned," Lao Zhang said. Zhang Chen was shocked and quickly asked Lao Zhang, "Who was the person who drowned?" "How do I know? I didn't see it at the scene," Lao Zhang said angrily, answering Zhang Chen's previous words. Xiao Zhao's father said from the side, "It's a man in his 50s. Zhang Chen quickly opened his laptop and went to the forum on the 19th floor. The forum was already very lively and everyone was discussing this topic. Zhang Chen kept sliding his fingers and turning the pages. He saw someone saying, "Di, the one in question was Ni's Hijan." Someone immediately said, "Don't talk nonsense, be careful of others suing you." I was not convinced when I was told not to talk nonsense, so I immediately said, "How could I talk nonsense?" My classmate saw it at the scene. The police found the ID card from the deceased. Several policemen were saying to each other that it was Ni's Hijan who was killed. My classmates heard it. Who doesn't know about Ni's Hijan? Haha, is there a stewardess on the bus? Someone left a message below, saying that Ni's Hijan likes to date stewardesses. In Hangzhou, it has long been a household name. The one in front of me answered very seriously and authoritatively, "No, he was the only one." More people in the forum are discussing the same issue as Lao Zhang. Some people said, "I know that river. The water is very shallow. Even if a person stands up, the water will reach his chest. Someone is about to bully him below. Where are the children and women? The water also reaches their chests. UXX, are the women and children who died? Damn you, you are really making trouble for yourself." The person who said Shui Qian was scolded earlier. Someone else analyzed the accident professionally and left a long message. When a car falls into water, whether the door can be opened depends on the circumstances. 1. Cars have certain water closing capabilities. Once the car is flooded, the first thing the driver does is to immediately unbuckle his seat belt and then immediately open the electronic central lock to prevent the door circuit from malfunctioning. If water has just accumulated, be sure to open the car windows in time and open the door with all your strength to escape. If you miss this time, don't panic. 2. After the car enters the water, because the engine is placed in the front of the car is downward and the rear of the car is tilted upward. The entire water injection process usually takes half an hour. During the gradual sinking process, water will continue to enter the gaps in the car body. When the internal and external pressures are equal, the water level in the car will no longer rise. When the water level stops rising, take a deep breath and open the car door or window to escape. Zhang Chen read this passage to Lao Zhang, who happily shouted to Xiao Zhao's father. "Look, I said he shouldn't be drowned. How could he be drowned in such a small ditch? He's not a bastard." "Have you ever seen a tortoise drown in the water?" Zhang Chen asked. Lao Zhang glared at him and cursed, "I mean, that car is not as big as a tortoise." Zhang Chen smiled at him. Zhang Chen hadn't finished his breakfast, but he was no longer in the mood to eat. He took his bag and hurried out. While walking, he called Tan Shahen. Tan Shahen was also surprised when she heard the news. She said, "Wait a minute." I immediately called Su Wenhui to confirm. "They reported it in Hangzhou and a reporter should know about it?" Zhang Chen said yes. Zhang Chen walked to the parking lot and got into the car. His mood still hadn't calmed down. He didn't start the car immediately. He sat there for a while. He thought that if it was really Lao Ni who died, then Lu Ligan and Meng Ping, this time it is even less likely to appear. The reason is simple. As long as Lao Ni dies, the pressure will be all on the two of them. Although Lu Ligan's matter seems to have been solved, it is only solved in a legal sense. Lu Ligan did not show up. The creditors have no way to continue to trouble Jinxia Group, but if Lu Ligan appears, they will still trouble him, especially Meng Ping. They are not only looking for creditors, but also Lao Ni's family. They must want to find out what happened. They may even think that Lao Ni is dead, but the two of them are not. The two of them should treat Lao Ni. Although this idea of being responsible for Ni's death is far-fetched, in many cases, many things are unreasonable. In addition, the local government or public security in Shaoxing will also look for Lu Ligan and Meng Ping. They also want to know what happened and whether they are responsible for this incident. So many people would come looking for them, Lu Ligan and Meng Ping. They are not fools. He Zhang Chen could think of it, how could they not think of it? Besides, Lu Ligan didn't know that his matter had been settled legally. I thought that as long as he showed up, those creditors would kill him if they found him. Zhang Chen's phone rang, and it was Tan Shahen. Zhang Chen quickly picked it up. Tan Shahen told him that Su Wenhui confirmed that it was indeed Lao Ni who died. The police have not yet concluded that he fell into the river due to an operational error, or suicide, or even homicide. The possibility of homicide cannot be ruled out. If the possibility of homicide is not ruled out, then even Lu Ligan and Meng Ping will be suspected. Zhang Chen sighed and said to Tan Shahen, "It seems that the Pole will never come back." Tan Shahen said anxiously, "Why are there so many messy things? How could this happen?" "Ignore this for now, Tan Shahen. The top priority is, have you convened an extraordinary shareholders meeting and issued the announcement for shareholder registration?" Zhang Chen asked. "It has been sent out." The shareholders meeting was initiated by Lao Tan and Ying Ying. Tan Shahen said, "Now we are worried that we will not be able to gather 60% of the shareholders. According to the regulations of the Hong Kong Stock Exchange and the Articles of Association of Splendid China Holdings Group Co., Limited, to convene a general meeting of shareholders or an extraordinary general meeting, shareholders holding 5% of the shares must file a motion to convene the meeting, and more than 60% of the shares must be held. Shareholders attend by phone. The chairman of the company can be replaced if more than 2/3 of the shareholders attending the general meeting vote or voting by telephone agree. Now, Jinxia Group owns the largest share of the company's management after the increase in shares, totaling 30.2%. The single largest shareholder is Lu Ligan, who owns 30% of the shares. The latest second largest shareholder it was the Wall Street fund that Xiaofang found, which owned 11%. Because Lu Ligan's 30% will definitely be absent, Tan Shahen and the others need to find out the 60% from the remaining 70%. What is certain and confident is the management and the funds totaled 41.2 and 18.8. They needed to find out among so many shareholders, so they had to announce the shareholder registration. If the attendance of shareholders does not reach 60%, not only will it be impossible for them to replace the chairman, but also all other major decisions will be impossible. On the other hand, as long as the 60% can be collected to replace Tan Shahen as chairman, there will be no problem, because the voting rights of the management and the fund already exceed 2/3 of the 60%. That company entrusted Xiaofang to attend the shareholders' meeting and vote on their behalf. Now, finding the less than 18.8% of shareholders has become the key. Zhang Chen shook his head. He thought, it is really difficult to pass every level. If you can't pass any level, then everything will be in vain. Zhang Chen started the car. He was going to the Lakeside Oil Painting Gallery. Today, the appraiser assigned by Miss Cai and the others had arrived. Zhang Chen wanted to see how the appraiser appraised the authenticity of a painting. Fake. He thinks this is a very magical thing. Like the old works of the old painters of Wu Guanzong's generation, you can also identify them from the age of their paints, canvases, and frames, as well as their creative styles. Those recent works, what about the painter? Will the appraiser know each of their styles well? Zhang Chen felt that this was almost impossible. In particular, there are some newly popular painters. Many of their paintings were painted by assistants, and they were not even assistants. What they came up with were only creative ideas or ideas. This makes it harder to identify, right? Zhang Chen felt that he must go and take a closer look. As for the job of an appraiser, he has no interest at all. Anyway, he promised Miss Cai that the price will be no less than RMB 30 billion, and their collection, Zhang Chen knows, can easily exceed RMB 30 billion, even if it is based on the total lowest price of the artist's auction works will also exceed this number. What's more, what they have here are almost all masterpieces of every painter, and representative works of their most important periods. Zhang Chen doesn't have to worry about this at all. Thank you for your monthly pass to Old Shenzi Sang, Reader 11963189776326411024, Book Friend 201901042017583118, Old Cat Who Doesn't Drink, Book Friend 201911021135467118. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 1506. Zhang Chen and Tan Shahen went to Miss Cai's room at the Hyatt Regency Hotel. The two of them sat down on the sofa in the living room. Tan Shahen and Miss Cai said, "Dr. Cai, the alien you asked us to find has been found." Oh, Ms. Cai, who was sitting, stood up when she heard this. However, she passed away 2 years ago, Tan Shahen said. Miss Cai sighed in surprise. She stood up, walked to the window, and looked out blankly. The West Lake not far away was a bit dazzling in the afternoon Sunday. Miss Cai frowned slightly. Miss Cai asked softly, "Miss Tan, do you know what disease caused him to die?" The house caught fire and all 3 members of the family were killed. Tan Shahen looked at Miss Cai's back and said slowly. The result of the police's subsequent investigation was that there were multiple sources of fire indoors. In other words, it was determined that it was not caused by a short circuit in the wires or human negligence, but by someone deliberately setting the fire. The fire started at about 2 o'clock in the morning. There were no signs of outsiders entering. Miss Cai put her hands on the windowsill and asked, "They lit it themselves, right?" Yes, Tan Shahen nodded, but among the three of them, there is no way to tell who lit it. Also, the police investigation found that alien suffered from severe depression. After Tan Shahen finished speaking, she stopped talking. Miss Cai stood with her back to them and did not speak anymore. Tan Shahen looked at her back. She could see that she was standing there, sobbing silently. This was not a back view play, but its real sadness. Tan Shahen stood up, picked up the tissue box on the coffee table, walked over, and gently placed it on the windowsill beside Miss Cai. Miss Cai said softly, "Thank you, Miss Tan." Tan Shahen came back and sat down on the sofa again. She and Zhang Chen looked at each other. Both of them had doubts in their hearts. They didn't know what the relationship between Alien and Miss Cai would be. Tan Shahen checked Alien's background very carefully. She is a native of Hangzhou, and the relationship between their families seems to be very simple. There are no relatives on her father's side, and there is only one younger brother on her mother's side, who is also in Hangzhou. Apart from this, their family has no other relatives, let alone overseas connections, so it is impossible for them to interact with Miss Cai. Alien's information was in Tan Shahen's bag, but Tan Shahen felt that there was no need to take it out now. Miss Cai took out the paper towel, folded it twice, and folded the paper towel into a rectangle. Then, instead of wiping it, she pressed it on her eyes, first on the left side, then on the right side. Then, Miss Cai turned around, her face piece has been restored. It seems that this matter has come to an end. Mr. Zhang, your art museum is very valuable, more valuable than you think. As Ms. Cai spoke, she walked to the desk, picked up a thick evaluation report with a dark blue cover on the desk, walked over, and handed it to Zhang Chen. Zhang Chen opened it and looked at it. The first page was the appraiser's statement. In fact, the content was nothing but some formulaic language. The second page was the summary of the appraisal report. Zhang Chen looked at the appraisal conclusion in particular and gave it to them. The appraisal price given by the appraiser for the entire Lakeside Oil Painting Gallery collection is 48.23553 million yuan. The entire evaluation report has more than 30 pages, and most of them are numbered tables that indicate the title of the work, the author, and the estimated price. Zhang Chen closed the evaluation report and handed it back to Miss Cai. Miss Cai said, "This is for you." Zhang Chen said, "Thank you. Miss Tan, if you need it, we can increase your quota by another 2 billion yuan." Miss Cai and Tan Shahen said. Tan Shahen quickly said, "Thank you, Mr. Cai. By the way, I will go back to Taipei tomorrow. Xiahua, lawyer Xia, and Mr. Chiao will stay here. Next, we will wait for Miss Tan's shareholders meeting. After it is over, they can handle the relevant procedures with you." Ms. Cai said. Tan Shahen said yes. "Also, I may not have the chance to come to Hangzhou again in the future, but Xiahua will come often. I hope you two can help me take care of him." Miss Cai said. Zhang Chen and Tan Shahen both nodded. Ms. Cai laughed and said, "You two are also welcome to go to Taipei. Mr. Zhang, I will hang the painting you gave me in my office in the 101 building. I am really happy I like it. From now on, when I look at it, I will think of you and Hangzhou." Zhang Chen and Tan Shahen quickly said thank you. At 2 o'clock in the afternoon the day after tomorrow, the extraordinary general meeting of shareholders of Splendid China Holdings Co., Limited will be held in the conference room of the Huayuan Hotel. All shareholders who plan to attend the extraordinary general meeting in person will arrive in Hangzhou before then. 5 o'clock this afternoon is the last date for shareholder registration. Whether the extraordinary general meeting of shareholders can be held as scheduled depends on whether 60% of shareholders can register at the company or by phone before 5 o'clock. Zhang Chen felt that he was more nervous than Tan Shahen and the others. If today's registration number did not meet the target, the extraordinary shareholders meeting would be held at another date. Shareholders with 5% voting rights would initiate a motion again, and all procedures would be completed. If we go over it again, the situation at Jinxia Group will not be resolved in the short term. Moreover, if the shareholder registration does not meet the standards this time and the extraordinary general meeting of shareholders is not held as scheduled, it will definitely have an impact on the share price of Jinxia Group. If the stock price falls, those investors who have lost confidence in the company will have no intention to attend any extraordinary meetings. At the shareholders meeting, whoever you love will go and die. The second extraordinary general meeting of shareholders is likely to fail again. At around 3 o'clock, Zhang Chen left his office and went to Tan Shahen and the others. When he walked into Tan Shahen's office, he saw Lao Tan, Yao Fen, and the Secretary General all here, and the four of them looked solemn. Zhang Chen asked, "What's wrong?" "There is still more than an hour, still 1.1% short," Tan Shahen said with a wry smile. Zhang Chen said, "Don't be anxious, there is still more than an hour, isn't it?" Tan Shahen continued to smile bitterly, "This kind of thing will come as soon as it comes. Who would delay it until the last moment? Starting from this afternoon, no one will come to register again. Besides, it's useless to be a small investor, you have to be a big investor," Yao Fen said. 1.1%, that's more than 68 million shares. Zhang Chen thought for a moment, then looked at his watch, and asked, "Is the Hong Kong Stock Exchange closed?" "That's not true, they are at 4 o'clock in the afternoon," Tan Shahen said. "What do you want to do? Isn't it just one by one? Can't we just buy it ourselves?" Zhang Chen said. "Where can I get so much money? According to the current stock price of 6.13 yuan, it would cost more than 400 million in cash," Tan Shahen said. When Zhang Chen heard this, he was discouraged. Now, even he couldn't come up with so much cash, and it was impossible to get the money together in such a short time. Lao Tan said, "This, and there is also the risk of insider trading. We all know that as long as the extraordinary general meeting of shareholders is held and the relevant procedures are signed, not only will the corporate debt problem of MSCAI's place be solved, but there will also be 50 hundreds of millions of dollars of capital came in, knowing that as soon as this news was released, the stock would definitely rise sharply. Yes, insider trading can be severely punished," the Secretary General said from the side. "So, we have no other way?" Zhang Chen asked. Tan Shahen said with a bitter face, "Unless God has eyes and sends us a big customer, otherwise, there is really nothing we can do." Zhang Chen took out his mobile phone and said, "I'll call Xiao Fang and ask her if there is any workaround, or if there is any way for the fund to increase its holdings immediately. If we increase our holdings at this time, it would be suspected of insider trading, right?" Lao Tan said. "Moreover, Americans are all sleeping now. Even Xiao Fang can't drag people out of bed to buy stocks, right?" Tan Shahen said. "Let me ask, is there any other way?" Zhang Chen asked. Lao Tan and Tan Shahen also felt that there was no other way to think of, so they watched Zhang Chen make the phone call. The phone was connected, and Zhang Chen said to Xiao Fang, "Xiao Fang, I'm sorry for waking you up, but there is something very urgent." "Tell me what's going on." Brother-in-law Xiao Fang's eyes were sleepy and her voice was still unclear. Zhang Chen told her the matter and asked her if there was any other way. Xiao Fang's voice became sober, and she said, "Wait, brother-in-law, let me do the math. Everyone here is confused, what does she mean by calculating?" After a while, Xiao Fang laughed on the phone and said, "Brother-in-law, don't worry, that's enough. What's enough? Zhang Chen asked puzzledly. I've got enough stocks, I'll come, Xiaofang said. What do you mean, Xiaofang? You mean you're here to buy now? But, will this involve insider trading? You know everything here, Zhang Chen said. Xiaofang giggled and said. To buy it now, it costs more than 400 million Hong Kong dollars. I don't have that much money. But brother-in-law, when the stock price was more than 50 cents, I personally bought more than 80 million shares. At that time, I just wanted to support Sister Shahen. With brother Lao Tan and others. Also, brother-in-law, don't worry. When I bought it, it was the most difficult time for them, and nothing happened after that. This does not involve insider trading. Everyone here was shocked. Zhang Chen said, but Xiaofang, where did you get so much money? I know you have a high income, but you have only worked for more than a year. Xiaofang continued to smile. I told you, I bought it when I had more than 50 cents in Hong Kong dollars. I didn't spend more than 400 million, but more than 40 million. My sister and brother-in-law, I spent all the money you gave me. It's useless. When I was studying, I got the highest scholarship every year. Plus my annual salary, commissions and bonuses. I originally wanted to buy 1.5 billion shares, but then I saw the stock went up, so I didn't buy it. Everyone here understood and laughed. Tan Shahen said. I didn't expect that God didn't open his eyes. It was Xiao Zhao who was watching us all the time. She sent us Xiaofang. Xiaofang, thank you so much. You're welcome, Sister Shahen. I'll send you my ID number, passport number and transaction account number, so you can register right away, Xiaofang said with a smile. I thought your numbers would definitely be exceeded, and you wouldn't need me. I didn't mention it. I didn't expect that the last shot was shot by me. It was great. Thank you Zion Yusuer and Xiao Shen Nian Fang 48 for the reward. Thank you for your monthly votes from Xian, Salted Fish Sewer, Xiao Shen Nian Fang 48, Zion J, WXD 121, Book Friends 201912170332388847, San Ran Heroes, Yuingzi, The Snake That Bites the Farmer, The Air Is Not Human, and Brother Bing. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1507. With no danger in sight, the extraordinary general meeting of shareholders of Splendid China Holdings Group Co., Limited could finally be held on time. Zhang Chen left Kioshi Academy and returned to his company. As soon as he sat down at his desk, his cell phone rang. Chen looked and saw that it was Li Yong. Li Yong asked, Zhang Chen, do you know what happened in Yaqian a few days ago? Zhang Chen said he knew. Was it Lao Ni? Now it can be announced to the public that it is indeed Lao Ni, Li Yong said. The police have ruled out the possibility of homicide. The news will be reported tomorrow. Did Lao Ni have an accident or committed suicide? Zhang Chen asked. Li Yong said, the tone is now set by traffic accidents. No matter what, Lao Ni has made contributions to society and should be given some dignity. Zhang Chen said yes, this is a good way to handle it. He understood in his heart that he needed to set the tone, which meant that Lao Ni was not a traffic accident. Is there any news about Ganzi and Mengping? Li Yong asked. Zhang Chen said no, if something happened to Lao Ni, they probably wouldn't show up. You think the same as me, Li Yong said. By the way, I heard that Jinxia Group can survive. Have you helped a lot? That's right. That's the Poles company. If I don't help anyone, I won't, Zhang Chen said. Li Yong said yes, I will come out of the office to your place in the evening, we will have a drink and we will talk in detail then. Zhang Chen said yes, I will wait for you in the office. After hanging up the phone, Zhang Chen called the canteen below and asked them to help him prepare some dishes for the evening. At around 9 o'clock in the evening, Li Yong arrived. As soon as he entered the door, he said, I asked the driver to go back, and I will ask Xiao Wu to take me off later. Zhang Chen agreed, he would be upstairs anyway, so just call him when the time comes. Li Yong put a few vest bags in his hands on the table. He said, I bought some braised vegetables on the way. This was recommended by my driver. He said it was good. Zhang Chen smiled and said, whatever dishes you bring, I have already asked the following to prepare them. Is there anyone in your canteen tonight? Li Yong asked. Zhang Chen said yes, the security guards at the market downstairs, the foreign trade company, and the e-commerce department all worked overtime at night and had to eat supper, and there was a chef on duty in the canteen. There are too many dishes. Let's ask Xiao Wu to come too. After Li Yong finished speaking, he thought about it and said with a smile, if he is in love, don't bother him. Li Yong brought roast chicken, beef, and orchid beans. Zhang Chen called and asked others to start cooking. The two of them started drinking. Zhang Chen told Li Yong in detail about the Jinxia Group, starting from the handling of security rights and ending with MSCAI and the others. Not only did they not ask for the redemption of corporate bonds, they also added an additional 5 billion yuan. Li Yong listened, nodded constantly, and sighed. It's really shocking every step of the way. It's not easy. I'm relieved to be able to save Jinxia Group. Otherwise, the chain reaction would be too stressful. Zhang Chen said, the most difficult thing is to deal with so many creditors. Fortunately, with your help and Director Miao and Director Lu sitting there, we can suppress them. Otherwise, it would be very difficult to rely on us. Li Yong waved his hand and said, even if it is not a Pole company, we will do this. I didn't see that the Prime Minister went to Zongheng Group to encourage them to produce self-rescue and reorganization. Lao Miao and the others have not been idle in the past few months. The next day, Hangcheng Daily and Metropolitan Express both published the news that Nis Hijan, a famous entrepreneur in our city, had died in a traffic accident. Zhang Chen was reading the newspaper when his cell phone rang. There was a short message. The message has arrived. Zhang Chen glanced at it and opened his eyes wide. The message was from Lu Ligan. Zhang Chen quickly opened the message and there were only 2 lines. Zhang Chen, I'm leaving. Say sorry to Zhen Zhen and Lao Tan for me. Zhang Chen quickly dialed, but Lu Ligan's cell phone was turned off again. Zhang Chen picked up the phone and prepared to call Tan Shahen. He thought that Tan Shahen was preparing for tomorrow's extraordinary shareholders meeting, so he would not disturb her. He took the phone and thought for a while, then called Li Yong and told him Lu Lizan's information. Li Yong became nervous when he heard it and asked, Zhang Chen, what does it mean that I'm leaving? This guy won't follow in Lao Ni's footsteps, will he? Zhang Chen thought for a while and said, no, I just left. I guess he saw today's newspaper and knew about Lao Ni, and knew that he couldn't stay in Hangzhou anymore, so he left. Don't worry, the Pole is not Lao Ni, he has survived such a big setback in Hainan. No, at this moment, in order to prevent accidents, I still want the police to locate his mobile phone and look for him. Li Yong said, if he really can't handle it, there may still be time to save him. Zhang Chen said yes. In the afternoon, Li Yong called Zhang Chen and told him, it seems you are right. The cars of Zanzi and Mengping were found and parked in the Huanbei underground parking lot. Both of their mobile phones were in the car. Go up, it seems they are fine, otherwise they wouldn't be in the mood to play the Golden Cicadas escape trick again. Zhang Chen called Qianfang and told Qianfang about Lu Ligan's text message and the discovery of the Pole and Mengping's car. Qianfang also said that it was okay. The two of them were together and they just went to bed. Liangshan will not seek short-sightedness. They are not this kind of people and are afraid of death. Zhang Chen laughed and asked Jian Fang how he was doing there. Jian Fang said that people from Shaoxing have come to Nanjing, and Li Yang is dealing with them, so he must give them some. After all, they have lost so much money, but it is impossible for Lao Meng to bear it all. Lao Meng couldn't afford it either. He had been idle these past few years and didn't make much money. Don't worry, Zhang Chen, Li Yang will not let Lao Meng go bankrupt. We are already prepared here. Jian Fang didn't say how to prepare, and Zhang Chen didn't ask. He knew that Li Yang's approach was both good and evil. Zhang Chen said, "Okay, I understand. If anything happens, Jian Fang, please call me." Jian Fang said yes. Putting down the phone, Zhang Chen sat there and thought for a while. He himself felt a little strange. Although he knew that Lu Ligan and Meng Ping would disappear again, his heart did not feel like the last time they were in Haikan. So worried when we lose contact. Maybe Jian Fang is right. Together, these two people have enough ability to live a good life. Maybe when they appear again, they will impress people again. The mountains are high and the rivers are long, but I wish you peace, brothers. The extraordinary shareholders meeting ended successfully, and Tan Shahan took over as the chairman of Splendid China Holdings Co., Limited. From then on, everything went on in an orderly manner. Tan Shahan and Lao Jiao went through the relevant procedures for issuance of an additional 5 billion corporate bonds, and Zhang Chen and Lao Jiao went through the regarding the pledge procedures for the collection of Lakeside Oil Painting Museum, Ziahua, and Lawyer Xie went through the entrustment procedures with Lao Jiao. Announcements from Fairview China Holdings Co., Limited were issued one after another. First, it was announced that Tan Shahan, the general manager of the company, would take over as chairman. Then it was announced that the issue of 4.5 billion corporate bonds had been resolved. After Fairview Group provided a new full guarantee, the repayment period of the company's bonds remains unchanged. Finally, it was announced that Jinxia Group has obtained permission from the relevant consortium, and they have decided to purchase an additional RMB 5 billion in corporate bonds issued by Jinxia Group. Jinxia Group will use these funds to accelerate the development of projects in Hangzhou, Shanghai, Hefei, Nanjing, Wuhan, development of projects in Ningbo and Xiamen. In Xiaofang's words, these announcements one after another have brought continuous benefits to Jinxia Group. In addition, the country has clearly listed real estate as a pillar industry and strongly supported it. The real estate market in mainland China has begun to pick up, and has driven the real estate in Hong Kong. Stimulated by the series of good news, Fairview Group's stock rose steadily. Not only did it regain its original lost ground and climbed back to 16 Hong Kong dollars, it also continued to rise. It once touched 20 Hong Kong dollars, and then fell back a little, floating around 18 Hong Kong dollars. The rare relaxed and pleasant atmosphere has returned to Kiyoshi Academy. Everyone in the company is full of joy. Not only has the saddest difficulty passed, but with the rise in stock prices, their increase in holdings has also increased the personal wealth of each of them. The value has increased a lot. Zhang Chen and Tan Shahan said, "You are now a truly rich woman. I'm going to say that your family is Xiao Fang. At such a young age, she already has over $1 billion in assets. When we were her age, we would only care about $12 for what we had," Tan Shahan said with a smile. Zhang Chen also laughed. He said that it is true that knowledge is power. It's hard to accept it. Think about Xiao Zhao and I at that time, we would be so tired that we would be peeled off even if we made 10 million. She earned so much so easily and skillfully. I can't accept it. As for your art museum, I didn't see how much effort you put into it, so why is it worth more than 40 billion? Not to mention more than 40 billion, I was shocked when you said 30 billion that day, Tan Shahan said. That one is a mistake, that one cannot be counted, Zhang Chen said, it can no longer be copied. Time has passed. Now if I am asked to build such an oil painting museum, I don't have the ability. Zhang Chen was very happy that the Jinxia Group matter was settled, but he was only happy for one day. In fact, he was not even a day yet. When he returned to his office, he became worried. His place was still in a mess and he was unable to do anything. Su Kioxin and the others have been working very hard, working overtime until midnight every night, and developing many new customers, especially customers in South Africa, Japan, and the Middle East. These places have been relatively less affected by the economic crisis. But in North America and Europe, the economic crisis is still spreading. They are adding new customers here, but old customers are still losing over there. For new customers, their business growth still needs a process. In addition, Xiaomi and others are also losing their private customization customers. Xiaomi and Zhang Chen said that it is much more difficult to develop new customers now than before, and it takes a long time to track them. They also have to hesitate and weigh repeatedly. People seem to be less wealthy than before. Even those who are wealthy are not as courageous to spend money as before. The economic crisis affects not only the economy, but also people's psychology. The only highlight of their company is Huihuan. After the opening of the Tuxianjiayuan Hotel on Huihai Middle Road in Shanghai, business has been good. Huihuan is already speeding up the preparations for the Tuxianjiayuan Hotel on Yan'an Road in Hangzhou. Thank you for your monthly votes from Standby Time, Why Should a Floating Life Be a Dream, Book Friends 1603181341576888, The Snake That Bites the Farmer, Rabuluij, Tamagotchi, and Book Friends 202009111601099750. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 1508. Zhang Chen called Xiao Wu, and the two of them went to the supermarket, bought 4 boxes of Maotai and 2 large boxes of King Chunbao, and then went to Lu Ligan's parents' house. When old Lu saw Zhang Chen, Xiao Wu, and Zhu coming, he left. Lu Ligan's mother asked Zhang Chen where the Pole had gone and why he hadn't gone home for so many days. She also called him. Doesn't make sense. Zhang Chen said that the Pole went to the United States. I went with him. We left in a hurry and didn't have time to tell you. No, I came back yesterday and came today. The Pole is in the United States and will stay for a while. Lao Lu asked, why are you going to the United States? Build a house and sell it, Zhang Chen said. Building a house in the United States sells it for us dollars, and the Pole earns us dollars. What's the use of US dollars? It can't buy anything, Lu Ligan's mother said, it's better to earn RMB steadily. You can buy anything. Old Lu said that's right, that American's wine is not good to drink, it's like 10 drops of water. Zhang Chen smiled and said, Uncle, have you ever drank American wine? Lu Ligan's mother rolled her eyes at old Lu and scolded him, why didn't he drink? He wasn't in Sanya, he was staying in a hotel, and there were such small bottles of wine in the room, so he opened it and drank, 1 bottle at a time. And ended up vomiting it out again. Zhang Chen and Xiao Wu laughed, and Lao Lu said, it doesn't taste good. I would rather drink 10 drops of water. Zhang Chen took out a wad of money from his bag, put it on the table, and told Lu Ligan's mother, this is what the Pole asked me to give to you, he said, it's for buying vegetables so that you can eat better. Don't be reluctant to buy it. Lao Lu said, yes, eat better, eat better. If you don't eat, you won't eat. Eat, 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 you know how to eat, Lu Ligan's mother scolded. Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan's mother said, Auntie, the Pole is not here. If anything happens at home, just call me and Xiao. Lu Ligan's mother said, there is nothing going on at home, unless one day he drinks to death and kicks off his legs to move to the crematorium. Lao Lu said no, 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 don't go to the crematorium. Zhang Chen smiled and said, Uncle has already said that he wants to buy 1,000 gin jar and soak it with wine. Lao Lu smiled and said, he is right, this is the best. The mouse carries you on his back, Lu Ligan's mother scolded. Zhang Chen said, that must be a rat that likes to drink. Both Lao Lu and Lu Ligan's mother laughed. Zhang Chen's cell phone rang, and it was Su Qiaxin. As soon as Zhang Chen picked up the phone, Su Qiaxin called on the phone, "Boss, where are you?" "What's wrong outside?" Zhang Chen asked. "Hurry up, come back right away," Su Qiaxin continued to shout. Zhang Chen asked, "What's wrong?" "You'll know when you get back," Su Qiaxin said and hung up the phone. Zhang Chen told Lao Lu and Lu Ligan's mother, uncle and aunt, "There is something going on in my company and we have to leave first." Lu Ligan's mother said, "Okay, it's important at the company, so hurry up." Lao Lu raised his right hand, stopped, and then waved outside to say goodbye to them. After getting in the car and driving to the company, Zhang Chen said to Xiao Wu, "From now on you will come every 10 days and a half to bring them wine and youth treasures. By the way, give them another 1,000 yuan each time, don't give too much money. If you give too much, Zhuangzi's mother will get suspicious. Just say that the things and money were all sent by Zhuangzi from you." Xiao Wu said yes. The two people rushed back to the company, went upstairs, and turned around the stairs. Zhang Chen was stunned. He saw a person standing there with Su Qiaxin in the corridor upstairs, but it was Jessica. Su Qiaxin also saw Zhang Chen. She patted Jessica's hand and pointed downward. Jessica turned around, saw Zhang Chen and waved to him. Su Qiaxin stood on the side and kept laughing. Jessica looked a little haggard. She was no longer wearing a suit, but a denim jacket. This was a little different from her original style, but it had a different kind of sassiness. Zhang Chen also waved to her and said, "Jessica, hello." Zhang Chen entered his office. Su Qiaxin and Jessica walked in. Zhang Chen greeted him. Jessica reached out and held him. Zhang Chen asked, "When did you arrive?" Su Qiaxin answered for her and told Zhang Chen, "You, the girl of your dreams, arrived in Shanghai this morning without calling us beforehand. She took the airport bus to Hangzhou by herself. She probably wanted to give you a surprise." "Why, so, boss, are you surprised?" Zhang Chen nodded and smiled, his surprise almost turned into fright. Jessica looked at the two of them, not knowing what they were talking about. Su Qiaxin muttered in English, and Jessica kept nodding. Zhang Chen saw Jessica turning sideways and yawning quietly while he was talking to Su Qiaxin. Her face was also a little tired. Zhang Chen and Su Qiaxin said, "Ask her if she wants to go to the hotel first. Get some sleep and get over the jet lag. If anything happens, we can continue talking when you get up." Su Qiaxin talked to Jessica, and Jessica agreed. Zhang Chen and Su Qiaxin said, "You and Xiao, send her to the Hyatt Hotel." Su Qiaxin said yes. Su Qiaxin let Jessica out, and Zhang Chen sent them to the stairs before walking back. More than half an hour later, Su Qiaxin and Xiao Wu came back. Zhang Chen asked, "Have you settled down?" "Stay here, Marco Polo," Su Qiaxin said. "Why did you go to Marco Polo?" "Marco Polo only has 4 stars," Zhang Chen said. "I know," Su Qiaxin said, "the girl in your dreams wants to go by herself. We took her to the Hyatt Hotel. She looked at the room price and thought it was too expensive. Let us take her to a cheaper hotel. It was a 5-star hotel, so I took her to Marco Polo and she was very satisfied." "Is this princess already in trouble?" Zhang Chen asked. "I think so. She needs you, the prince, to save her," Su Qiaxin said with a smile. Zhang Chen also laughed, and he said okay, he will find out when she wakes up. They were in the office and waited until after 7 o'clock in the evening before Jessica called Su Qiaxin and said that she had gotten up. Zhang Chen and Su Qiaxin drove to the Marco Polo Holiday Inn on Pinghai Road. There was no parking lot on the first floor of the Marco Polo Holiday Inn, and the row of parking spaces in the typhoon shelter next to it was also full of cars. Zhang Chen pulled the car over and parked it on Pinghai Road. Su Qiaxin got out of the car, walked into the hotel, and saw Jessica already sitting on the sofa in the lobby waiting for them. Zhang Chen saw Su Qiaxin and Jessica coming out. Jessica changed her clothes, wearing a pullover on the upper body and a pair of jeans on the lower body. She seemed to have recovered and became radiant again, but Zhang Chen vaguely felt that she always seemed to be uneasy, which seemed a little different from the Jessica she had seen before, who was very sure about everything. They went to the Tuxianjiayuan Hotel and sat down in the private room. Several cold dishes were served immediately. Jessica smiled at Zhang Chen a little reservedly. When she smiled, she was a little playful. She said, "I'm hungry," and started to eat. My appetite was very good. It seemed that I hadn't eaten well for a long time. Zhang Chen asked Su Qiaxin to ask Jessica if she wanted to drink, and Jessica said yes. Zhang Chen asked the waiter to boil red yeast wine and bring it up. Jessica saw that the color of the wine was very cute, just like fruit wine. She took a big sip and immediately frowned. Zhang Chen and Su Qiaxin both laughed. Jessica insisted on pouring the wine. Finished. Zhang Chen asked Jessica if she wanted to change the wine. Jessica said no. She continued to drink red yeast wine, but this time she only took a small sip. After taking the sip of wine, she seemed to adapt and told them that this wine was good. Drink. After they clinked glasses a few times, Jessica relaxed a little and began to speak in long paragraphs, while Su Qiaxin translated. Jessica told them that their company had suffered heavy losses during the financial crisis. Not only the wedding supplies, but also their decoration materials, bathroom equipment, and kitchen equipment had always been mortgageable. Now that the financial crisis has come, many of them have. If people lose their houses overnight, how can they possibly pay their mortgage payments? Each store suffered a large-scale breach of contract. When combined, they couldn't bear it. The amount of losses was too great. It can be said that their company was dragged to the edge of bankruptcy. What's even more unfortunate is that her father also fell ill at this time and was very ill. Now Jessica is in charge of the company. Many people, including the company's shareholders, suggested that Jessica file for bankruptcy protection, but Jessica still wanted to keep it up. She came to China this time just to visit some of their main suppliers in person and win their support. Zhang Chen said, "We will definitely support you." Zhang Chen smiled and said, "There is a popular word in China called production self-rescue, and I also support your target production self-rescue." Su Qiaxin translated this to Jessica. Jessica smiled, but her smile was a little bitter. Jessica and Zhang Chen said that because they lost too much money, their funds are very tight now. Jessica's fingers landed on the edge of the bone dish and slid along the edge of the bone dish. The uneasy look appeared again. Jessica did not speak, and Zhang Chen and Su Qiaxin did not say anything. They just looked at Jessica's slender fingers, sliding around the bone plate in circles. Jessica hesitated for a while, then she raised her head and asked Zhang Chen, "Could you please postpone the payment for a while after shipping the goods?" Su Qiaxin did not translate this to Zhang Chen, but directly asked if the FOB price should be changed to SIF price. That is to say, the FOB price is changed to the arrival price. There is a difference of more than 20 days to a month between the two. Zhang Chen and the others can only receive payment when the goods arrive on the west coast of the United States. Jessica shook her head, her face turned red, and after saying something, Su Qiaxin immediately replied to her. When Zhang Chen saw it, Jessica's eyes suddenly darkened. When the two of them were talking, although Zhang Chen couldn't understand, he kept looking at Jessica's expression very carefully. When he saw this, he quickly asked Su Qiaxin, "What are you talking about?" Su Kioxin shook her head and cursed, "Grandma, it turns out she doesn't want to be a sip, she wants an accounting period." "What do you mean?" Zhang Chen asked. "She wants us to send the goods to her first and then pay us 3 months later." "Grandma, how can this be done? It's too bullying." "I have told her directly that it is not possible." "There is no possibility at all," Su Kioxin said. Zhang Chen understood. No wonder Jessica's face was red. She was a little embarrassed to say it. Indeed, in foreign trade business, no one would ever do this or accept such conditions unless you opened Yuzin's letter of credit. There is still some possibility of negotiation. "There is nothing, I will send the goods to you, and then you say there is a problem with the goods here and there, and you will not pay the bill, or you will have to deduct money for this and that. What should I do? Especially now that the situation in the United States is still like this. 3 months from now, you won't even know whether Target is still there or not. And within 3 months, according to the speed of their supply to Target and their orders, the amount, Zhang Chen roughly calculated, is more than 10 million US dollars. If you owe me money at home, I can still come to you to collect it. Abroad, like this time, you have lost contact with me for more than a month. I also go to the United States every day, to that damn Minneapolis in Minnesota. Lismay City to pursue the case? It's too far to get to your place from New York, not to mention the Pacific Ocean in between. This money will probably fall into the Pacific Ocean." Zhang Chen understood why Su Kioxin refused immediately. I also understood why Jessica's eyes suddenly turned gloomy, and even why Jessica, who was so sure of everything, became uneasy. She probably knew that what she wanted to accomplish was an impossible task. "Thank you for the reward of 2 fishes at around 3 o'clock in the middle of the night. Thank you Renjian Chair and Taizongshan 1 for your monthly votes. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all a happy life." The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 1509. Jessica, who had a good appetite before, has become a little absent-minded now, and does not continue to speak. Instead, she uses the spoon in her hand to stir the soup in front of her, but she does not drink it, and her face does not change. He didn't look uneasy, but frowned slightly, looking worried. Zhang Chen thought to himself, this Jessica is also having a hard time. Such a big company suddenly suffered changes, and the burden suddenly fell on her. External suppliers stopped supplying goods one after another, and internally, from Jerry to now, the burden fell on her. She couldn't be contacted, including this time, she ran to China alone without even an assistant. It can be imagined that she was of course trying to save money. Also, many of the people under my command have probably gone away when the disaster comes. At this time, who can care about whom? Especially in the United States, a country where interests are the most important. To use the most appropriate Chinese word to describe this American girl, that is internal and external troubles. Zhang Chen felt that Jessica's current situation should be very similar to his own during the SARS period. At that time, he lost Xiao Zhao, and agents across the country were devastated and began to return goods. The factory was almost full with returns. Well, at that time, I was also suffering from internal and external troubles. Zhang Chen felt that Jessica might have a more difficult time than he did at that time. At that time, he had so many good friends around him to help him support himself, and internally, Zhao Zhigang, Brother Hagen, and Erhuo, Huihuan, Su Kioxin, etc., everyone was very united. When they collapsed and fell, there were many people behind them supporting them. Even when everyone was returning goods, he Dongmei insisted not to return goods. Later, even though Ma Ya and others had returned the goods to the factory, didn't the agents still understand him very well and share the losses for him? Will Jessica have so many people helping her to survive? In a country like the United States where everyone is for themselves, Will there be so many people selflessly helping her? Zhang Chen thought it was impossible and felt that it must be more difficult for her than him. Zhang Chen thought about it. He thought that before Jessica left the United States, he probably also knew that he was going to China this time to complete an almost impossible task. Her doing so was more like a dying struggle, an orphan bird, dying cry. She kept her posture very low. When she arrived in Shanghai, she was too embarrassed to bother them and asked them to pick her up at the airport. Instead, she took the bus and came here by herself. She must have been very nervous during the whole journey. Zhang Chen thought about it. When Jessica arrived in China, she came to Hangzhou first to find him. She must have chosen and waited repeatedly. She felt that she was the most likely to support her. She might be the one. Breakthrough. If she refuses here, she may feel desperate, and the next trip to China will become meaningless to her. She might even end her trip and go back to the United States, to Minneapolis, Minnesota, to accept the fact that Target is bankrupt. All this, Zhang Chen felt, was really too difficult and not easy for a rich woman like Jessica. Suki Oxen, asked Jessica, when is her return date? Zhang Chen said. Suki Oxen asked. Jessica shook her head and said something. Suki Oxen said that she didn't know either. She said that she was not sure yet. Zhang Chen nodded. He felt that his idea had been verified. She was like this, taking every step, hitting the south wall, breaking her head and bleeding, and then returned to the United States sadly. Suki Oxen, tell her that I agree, Zhang Chen said. What? Suki Oxen opened her eyes wide, looked at Zhang Chen, and asked in surprise, Boss, what did you say? Say it again. I mean, I agree to her request and give her a 3-month payment period, Zhang Chen said. Are you crazy? Suki Oxen asked. You're crazy, Zhang Chen scolded. Do you think she is really the girl of your dreams? Boss, what do you think? Suki Oxen asked reluctantly. I didn't think she was the girl of my dreams. I just wanted to help her and support her in giving birth and helping herself. I didn't just say it casually, Zhang Chen said with a smile. Then have you ever thought about 3 months worth of goods? No, it's not just 3 months worth of goods. When the billing period is up, we still have countless containers floating at sea, and we have to count them as 4 months worth of goods. Zhang Chen nodded. I know. You know, Suki Oxen said haha and asked, do you know that it is very likely that all these goods will be given to this American woman for free? Zhang Chen said, yes, I know, I even calculated that we may lose $14 million. Suki Oxen was a little annoyed and raised her voice, since she is not the lover of your dreams, what kind of courtesy do you need? Even if she is the lover of your dreams, isn't this lover too expensive? Zhang Chen smiled and said, I just believe her and want to help her. It has nothing to do with being ruthless. Please translate. Suki Oxen bit her lip and said, I won't do it, I won't do it. There is no such way. That's your translation. No, I said there is no such way. The risk is too great, Suki Oxen said, I can't watch you court death, boss. Thank you, Suki Oxen, but since this is my decision, I must bear the risk. Don't worry, even if you can't get the payment back, your business commission will not be less, Zhang Chen said. Suki Oxen finally got angry. She slapped the chopsticks in her hand on the table and cursed. Is this a matter of commission? Why do I want that broken commission? Let me tell you, boss, if you die in the hands of this ghost woman, I tell you, I am sorry for Sister Xiaozhao, I am sorry, I can't even feel sorry for that damn Xiao Wu. If my business is like this, I can't see anyone, so I might as well die. Jessica raised her head and looked at them. She couldn't understand what they were saying, but she just knew that they were arguing about something. She didn't know it was because of her. She looked at Suki-oxen and felt a little strange. She was surprised that Suki-oxen was right. His boss was so aggressive, and Zhang Chen, on the other hand, seemed a bit groveling. Zhang Chen sighed and said, Suki-oxen, I know you are doing it for my own good and the company, but don't worry, I didn't make this decision casually. I really believe in Jessica, and I want to help her, of course, but I also have selfish motives. If Target's goods can be shipped normally, the factory can start operating normally. Ha, it's a joke, you are gambling, yes, you are gambling, do you know that, boss? Suki-oxen said, if you want to maintain the normal operation of the factory like this, then you just ask that damn Zhao Zhigang to start doing it. Do it every day, and when you make it, we can donate it to the victims of the disaster in Africa. Zhang Chen said, yes, you are right. I seem to be gambling, but I am willing to make this bet. I also feel that I have a good chance of winning. Jessica is not our opponent, but a partner. If she can speak Chinese, maybe she and I can become very good friends. When a friend is in trouble, do you think I won't help? I think you just lost your mind, Suki-oxen pouted and said. Zhang Chen smiled and said, okay, Suki-oxen, just make me dizzy just once, and you can help me translate. If I don't do it, you have to say it yourself, Suki-oxen said. Zhang Chen scolded, I wish I could say it myself. I've said it a long time ago, and I still ask you. Suki-oxen sighed, it's no use being fierce. Then tell me that in the future, there will be other salesmen who will also have to pay accounts to other customers. What do you want me to do? There is no one else, I guarantee this time, a customer that I don't even know, how dare I give him a billing period? I think I know Jessica very well, that's why I do this, really. Suki-oxen bowed her hands upward and murmured, Sister Xiaozhao, please help me quickly, I can't do anything to this person anymore. Zhang Chen burst into laughter and said, don't worry, even if Xiaozhao is here, I will convince Xiaozhao to give Jessica this account period. You are bullying people, Suki-oxen pointed at Zhang Chen and said, you are bullying people just because you are the boss, and you do not take everything I say seriously. Zhang Chen smiled and said, I don't dare to bully you. Even if you kill Xiao Wu, even 10 of me can't beat him. Huh, he's not from the same country as you. He will listen to whatever you say, Suki-oxen curled her lips. Okay, then for the sake of me ordering Xiao Wu to fall in love with you, can you help me translate it? Zhang Chen begged. Suki-oxen sighed again. She looked at Zhang Chen and said, oh, I really can't help it. Who made you the boss? Then I translated. Thanks. I really translated, don't you regret it? No regrets, absolutely no regrets, Zhang Chen said. Suki-oxen turned around and told Jessica Zhang Chen's decision. When Jessica heard this, everyone stood up and jumped up. She walked around Suki-oxen, came over and hugged Zhang Chen, mouthfully kept saying, thank you. Thank you. Zhang Chen was so tightly hugged by her that he could hardly breathe. He smiled at Suki-oxen and said, look at how happy this big American girl is. Suki-oxen snorted, of course she is happy. If you give me such a big gift, I will be happy too. Zhang Chen continued to smile, and he said, yes, Suki-oxen, when you get married to that damn Xiao, I will definitely give you a big gift. Suki-oxen snorted again, you're a prodigal, I'm afraid you won't even be able to give away a needle by then. Zhang Chen laughed. Jessica sat back in her seat, and Zhang Chen remembered it. He and Suki-oxen said, by the way, don't talk to Zhao Jingjing and Xiaoli about this for now. Why, are you feeling guilty? Suki-oxen asked. Zhang Chen scolded, I'm afraid that you will all beg Xiao Zhao and then take turns to educate me. You will make my head hurt. Suki-oxen rolled her eyes at him, it's sophistry, but you still have a guilty conscience. Thank you Zheng Kishan for the reward of 2 fishes at 3 o'clock in the middle of the night. Thank you for your monthly pass, Hapai and, Xiao Shen Nian Fang 48, Dao Sheng 123, Book Friends 201811071825333788. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei-Shi Niang. Chapter 1510. Zhang Chen promised Jessica to give her the account balance. Jessica felt a stone fall in her heart. She became very excited and drank a lot of red yeast wine. The 3 of them finished their meal at Tuxianjiayuan Hotel and still had unfinished thoughts. Su Kioxin said that she would go to a bar on Nanshan Road for a drink. Jessica became excited when she heard it and agreed. Zhang Chen knew that people from Su Kioxin's foreign trade company often took customers to bars on Nanshan Road to drink. Customers also liked to go to such places, but Zhang Chen had never been there once. He didn't like such dimly lit places, let alone I like drinking but no food. He felt that eating big chunks of meat and drinking wine from big bowls, and bragging loudly under the bright lights would be a happy experience. Just like when they were in Gaohong, the lights could be broken anywhere in the troop, even the one at the gate. The light bulb must not be broken. If the light bulb in your home is broken, you can pick the light bulbs in the corridors, but you are not allowed to pick the one at the door. This is the place where they would get together to drink every night as long as they were in Yongcheng. If anyone picked something, Lu Ligan and Zhang Chen would scold them from the 1st floor to the 4th floor, and then when they came down, they would see a door open. Just asked, "Did you steal the light bulb at the gate?" Everyone inside shook their heads. Later, Lu Ligan thought of it and simply took Zhang Chen's oil paint and dotted it on the light bulb to mark it. They were sitting and drinking, and people came in and out. Lu Ligan pointed to the light bulb above his head and said to him, "Don't steal the light bulb, I have marked it," and the other person always replies to him, "Mom." However, the light bulbs at the gate have never been missing since then. Zhang Chen and Su Kioxin said, "You go ahead, but I won't go. I don't like going to bars." Go, you can't go, boss, you owe me." Su Kioxin said, holding Zhang Chen's arm, intending to drag him away. In fact, they had just walked out of the gate of Tuxianjiayuan Hotel and had not yet reached the car. To be more precise, they were forcing him to agree. Jessica saw her and took Zhang Chen's other arm. Zhang Chen was pinched by the 2 Chinese and American women and could only say, "Okay, I'll go." Su Kioxin chuckled and let him go. Jessica did not, but held her arm with him until they walked to the car. After getting in the car, Zhang Chen remembered and asked Su Kioxin, "You said earlier that I owed you. When did I say that I wanted to accompany you to the bar?" Su Kioxin said, "I translated it for you because I didn't like the translation so much. It's not like you owe me." Zhang Chen smiled and said, Okay. Jessica didn't know what they were talking about and wanted to get involved. She asked anxiously, "What?" "Shut up, it's all your fault." Su Kioxin cursed in Chinese. Jessica looked at her innocently, not knowing what she was talking about, and Zhang Chen laughed. When they arrived at the bar on Nanshan Road, Jessica drank a lot more wine and started talking more. What she was talking about was the tragic situation of their company during the financial crisis. At first, Su Kioxin was still translating, but later she scolded even the translator was too lazy to translate after saying thinking. Jessica didn't care and continued talking. Zhang Chen didn't care. He felt that even if he didn't know what Jessica was talking about, he would understand everything by looking at her expression. Jessica was pouring out her bitterness. Zhang Chen thought, she must not have poured out her bitterness like this for a long time, so let her pour it out. There is one thing that both Zhang Chen and Su Qiaxin knew. They were the last suppliers of Target to pay for their goods. Jessica told them that the crisis had actually started to happen before, and their company's funds began to get tight. The supplier had stopped paying for goods more than 2 months before Zhang Chen and the others. She said that Zhang Chen and the others were the suppliers that Target wanted to retain the most, so in the end, they had no choice but to stop paying. Su Qiaxin hugged Jessica and said, "Okay, I guess you still have a conscience." Zhang Chen also understood why at that time. Xiaofang went to the Target supermarket in New York and found that their supermarket had a serious shortage of goods, and the staff would say that they could not replenish the goods. Jessica finally drank too much and fell asleep in Su Qiaxin's arms. When she was sleeping, her mouth was slightly raised, like a child, very cute. Even Su Qiaxin said, "Boss, do you think this damn Jessica looks like a doll? I almost wanted to kiss her." Jessica has become dead Jessica, and she has become Su Qiaxin's best friend. Zhang Chen couldn't help but laugh when he thought that Su Qiaxin's method of distinguishing his best friends was really simple. When Jessica reappeared the next day, she was already wearing a suit and had returned to her previous appearance. She looked like a Jessica who was sure of everything again. Zhang Chen called Zhao Zhigang over. Jessica, Su Qiaxin, and Zhao Zhigang sat at the small conference table in Zhang Chen's office and began to discuss the order. Jessica opened her laptop and checked the current inventory in the United States. Zhao Zhigang told her which goods were currently delayed at the dock and which goods were still in the factory, and made a list. Zhang Chen walked over and said to Su Qiaxin, "At the dock, ask the freight forwarder to find the nearest ship and ship it out immediately. If the factory can't make up the container, Zhao Zhigang, ask them to produce it immediately. Su Qiaxin, you can book the shipping date here." Both said yes. Next, Jessica started to write a list. She first wrote down all the goods she needed, and then rearranged them. The shortage in the United States was already serious, especially for wedding dresses. Jessica put the goods that needed to be shipped as the highest priority. Queued out. Zhang Chen asked Zhao Zhigang to make arrangements immediately, work overtime, and try his best to rush forward. Zhao Zhigang said that it was no problem. The workers were so idle that they were growing hairy. Every day, the team leaders would fight each other to get a little bit of goods. Even if they were chased away now, they would not get off work. Zhang Chen asked Ji Ling to bring over the latest new models and let the models wear them. Jessica confirmed some new products and placed orders without waiting for the samples to come out. "We have been working together for such a long time," Target Zhao Zhigang knew all the requirements and sizes. Su Qiaxin and Zhang Chen said, "I will call and ask Mr. Shentu and the others to come over tomorrow. Let this damn Jessica tell them whether they are willing to accept the bill." Zhang Chen said yes. "But boss, you have to attend our meeting tomorrow," Su Qiaxin said. "What?" Zhang Chen asked. "After doing such a stupid business, I am afraid that I will be scolded by Mr. Shentu and others, so you are here to embolden me," Su Qiaxin said. Zhang Chen said, "Okay, everyone is here, you call me, I have to go to Xiaqiashi Academy tomorrow." Su Qiaxin said, "Yes, I will definitely not let you go. If you want to scold you, let Mr. Shentu and the others scold you." All orders were confirmed. Zhang Chen and Zhao Zhigang told them that the quality must be strictly controlled and that everyone should not rush to work and make things rough. What Zhang Chen is worried about is that if the goods are shipped to the United States, it will be difficult to tell if there is a problem here or there. Zhao Zhigang said, "Yes, I will keep an eye on him in the workshop every day, so you can rest assured. What worries me the most is that you damn Zhao Zhigang is always trying to be smart and cut corners," Su Qiaxin scolded. Zhao Zhigang chuckled. Zhang Chen was surprised and asked, "Why did he cut corners?" Su Qiaxin said, "In this way, The two cutting pieces are not originally hemmed separately and then put together. Several times, he has combined them together first and then hemmed them. He said that this is the case. The effect is actually the same, but it can be saved. It was folded once, but the customer didn't notice it and didn't raise any questions. How can the split seam and the closed seam be the same? Zhang Chen said, that will affect the flatness. He is lying to you and you don't understand. Zhang Chen turned to Zhao Zhigang and said, don't mess around, just give me the sample. Zhao Zhigang said, when I was making samples for them, I asked the sample workers to do this, and they confirmed it. Zhang Chen was stunned for a moment and cursed, Su Qiaxin is right. You are a cutter at heart. Can't you learn a little better? Zhao Zhigang argued, wouldn't I be able to save some wages if I did that? You don't have to worry about it, you know, brother. Zhang Chen cursed, and Zhao Zhigang said, okay, you are the boss, you have the final say. Su Qiaxin said from the side, bitch, you just want the boss to deal with you. Zhao Zhigang left, and Jessica and Su Qiaxin also went upstairs. They went to prepare for tomorrow. Tomorrow, they came together with Shentu Hanjian, but there are 7 factories in Yuwu and Pujiang. No matter whether they can reach an agreement tomorrow or not, they all need to prepare the orders first. Zhang Chen sat there alone, and he still had a problem in his heart, that is, how to tell Xiao Fang about this matter. If Xiao Fang knew that he had opened such a big hole and completely exposed the risk, she would definitely say impossible. But it doesn't seem to be good if you don't tell her. Once Xiao Fang finds out, she will definitely feel betrayed. She just feels that I am so anxious and thinking of ways to help you control the risk. I didn't expect that you are so careless and just open the door yourself. Wide open. Zhang Chen thought for a long time and decided to tell Xiao Fang about this tonight. Zhang Chen's cell phone rang. He looked at it and saw that it was Wen Wen. As soon as the call came through, Wen Wen shouted on the phone. Mr. Zhang, come down. What's coming down? Zhang Chen asked in confusion. The list is the list of teachers who will take the exam at the Hangzhou Exam Center in March, Wen Wen said. As soon as Wen Wen said that, Zhang Chen remembered it. He was so busy during this period that he forgot about it. Wen Wen said, Mr. Zhang, leave this place to me. Just let Nanan prepare his own. Zhang Chen said yes. Also, Mr. Zhang, please remind Nanan that the registration time for professional courses is from January 10th to 20th before the Spring Festival, don't miss the time. If you miss the registration time, you will be in trouble, Wen Wen said. Zhang Chen said yes, I will talk to Xiang Nan today. Mr. Zhang, are you excited? Wen Wen asked. What are you excited about? We are going to have a superstar here soon. Mr. Zhang, let me tell you, I am so excited that I can't sleep at night just thinking about it. I don't care, I will be Nanan's manager from now on. An assistant can do it too, I'll carry her bag. Wen Wen shouted excitedly, as if Xiangnan had been admitted to the Beijing Film Academy and became a film and television superstar. Zhang Chen laughed. Thank you Zipanjiang 1, Lao Chen Tang, Void and Broken Dreams, Poor People Have Short Ambitions But Thin Horses Have Long Hair, George Xiao, Lu, UN 11, Su Yuenian, and Lao Shenzasang for your monthly votes. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1511. Around 9 or 10 in the morning, Su Qiaxin called Zhang Chen and told him that Mr. Shentu and the others had arrived. Zhang Chen said, okay, I'll be back soon, you guys start driving first. Zhang Chen returned to the company and went to the conference room of the Foreign Trade Company upstairs. As soon as he walked in, he was startled. He saw that they were all women. Shentu Hanjian, 7 of them, plus Jessica and Su Qiaxin. When Shentu Hanjian saw Jiang Chen, she called out, "Mr. Jiang, come on, come on, come on and do Hong Chang Ching." Hong Chang Ching is the party representative in the movie Red Detachment of Women. After this movie was released, it has been very popular. There are many women together, but there is only one man. That man, everyone calls him Hong Chang Ching. Jiang Chen sat down and said with a smile, "Shentu, in Yuwu, is it popular to have female protagonists now?" Of course, Shentu Hanjian said, "Those men are dull and can't speak outside. They just run the factory at home, which is of some use. Where, they go to KTV at night and coax the little girls, each one is sweeter than the other. I didn't see that there are more and more KTVs in Yuwu and the business is so good." Another woman said, and everyone laughed. Shentu Hanjian scolded, "Ling Weiji, stupid woman, you won't teach him a lesson, teach him in one go." The one who was scolded for being a jerk turned red in the face, flattened his lips and said, "I'm not as powerful as you. Come on, don't be stingy, let me take care of your husband, no more, for 1 week, I promise to take care of him obediently," Shentu Hanjian said, and everyone laughed again. There are 7 girls, 4 from Yuwu, 1 from Pujiang, and 2 from Yongkang. Among them, Shentu Hanjian is like the eldest sister. They were also introduced to Su Kioxin by Shentu Hanjian. Just for them. After everyone had finished laughing, it was time to talk about business. Shentu Hanjian and Jiang Chen said, "Kioxin told us earlier about the 3-month account period. With such conditions, Mr. Jiang, your factory will also promise." Jiang Chen is right. "Why, Mr. Jiang? Did you agree to this Jessica because she is good looking?" Shentu Hanjian asked. Jiang Chen smiled and said, "Of course not, I believe her." "Why do you believe her? You haven't been with her long," Shentu Hanjian asked doubtfully. "This has nothing to do with the length of time," Jiang Chen said. "Whether you trust a person or not can be judged by a few things." "What's the matter?" "For example, during the Wenchuan earthquake, we stopped all their goods for more than half a month. They also suffered losses. Think about it, if a supermarket stopped selling goods for more than half a month, the losses would be huge. Big. According to the contract, they can fully claim compensation from us. I was also prepared to compensate them at that time, but this Jessica, because she saw the pictures of the Wenchuan earthquake that Su Kioxin sent her, I think she also understood, why should we stop their goods and produce tents, but we won't be compensated at all." As Jiang Chen spoke, Shentu Hanjian nodded and said, "That's it. This counts as one thing. It seems like she is still a good person. Also, I went to the United States. When I was in New York, I called her and she said she would come to New York to see me the next day. It was more than 1,000 kilometers away. Moreover, she was the buyer and we were the sellers. Buyers are always higher than sellers, right? It stands to reason that I should go to see her, but why would she come to see a supplier? Although I didn't see her later because I was going back to China the next day, this incident still left a deep impression on me. I think she still values our suppliers very much." "It makes sense," Shentu Hanjian said, "it's more than 1,000 kilometers away, or she likes you, and it's just a thread 1,000 miles away." Everyone laughed again. Jiang Chen smiled and continued. "Also, I'm not a fool. After this shipment incident, I have been learning about their company's situation, including asking people to go to their supermarket in New York. As a result, what she said is consistent with what I learned. Exactly the same, so I think what this person says can be believed. When they have money, they are very active in paying and never default on arrears." Su Kioxin added, "Is that so, Mr. Shentu?" "This, I don't know this. Our money is all paid to me by your company," Shentu Hanjian said. Su Kioxin said, "We will pay you only after we have received their money." Shentu Hanjian nodded, "Well, they pay faster than other companies, and they are very trustworthy. Zhang Chen said yes, trust is also formed over a long period of time. I have been dealing with them in the past few years, and I feel that they have never broken their promises or deliberately made things difficult. Although there is no fault in the goods, they say there is a defect here and there is a defect there. Even if there is something really wrong, we can still communicate and solve it very well, unlike some customers who ask you to pay compensation right away. Su Kioxin said, what Mr. Zhang said is correct. Doing business with their company is very smooth. There are no messy things. Shentu Hanjian looked at the other women, she lightly patted the table and shouted. Okay, Mr. Zhang, if you dare to do it, I will follow you. What are you afraid of? There is nothing to be afraid of. Others said, Sister Hanjian, if you say we will do it, we will do it too. One of the two Yongkong people said, at worst, we will go to the United States together to beg for money. Fortunately, we can go to the United States to have fun. Everyone laughed again, and Shentu Hanjian scolded, shameless, you already have 2 children, and you are still a little girl, are you still a little girl? I want you to take care of it, the one scolded back. Her husband treats her as his little girl every day and says it feels like first love, another Yongkong said, making everyone laugh. When Shentu Hanjian saw that everyone else agreed, as long as the Pujiang guy didn't speak, Shentu Hanjian asked, hey, Juxian, how are you? The person who was called Juxian blushed and said, in 3 months, I'm afraid that I won't have enough liquidity to pay for it. Are you stupid? You want a loan, Shentu Hanjian said, now that we are doing foreign trade, as long as there are still orders and normal production, it is easy to get working capital loans. The higher authorities are asking banks to do this. Banks, there are assessment indicators. The president of your Pujiang ICBC is my friend. If you want a loan, I will help you talk to him and I will definitely give you a loan. Juxian nodded quickly and said, then I agree. Shentu Hanjian thought of something, and she asked Su Kioxin, ask Jessica, if we need to advance so much working capital, can her bank interest be subsidized to us? Su Kioxin asked Jessica, and Jessica told her. Su Kioxin said that Jessica said yes, and she could increase the price of these orders by 2 points. That's it, deal. Shentu Hanjian stood up and said, do you want to give me a high five? Su Kioxin talked to Jessica, and Jessica stood up with a smile and stretched out her hand. Shentu Hanjian actually walked over, gave her a high five, and then shouted. Mr. Zhang, we also need to attack. Zhang Chen smiled and said, okay. That was settled. According to the original process, Target should place an order to Zhang Chen's foreign trade company, and the foreign trade company would then place an order to the factory below. But now, because of time constraints, the bosses of several factories happen to be here, so it will be reversed today. It means that Su Kioxin placed the order to the factory first in the afternoon, so that Shentu Hanjian and the others could go back with the order. In the evening, Jessica signed a formal purchase and sales contract with Su Kioxin. Zhang Chen looked at his watch and saw that it was almost 12 o'clock. Zhang Chen said, let's go have lunch first and then come back to get the order. Shentu Hanjian said, Mr. Zhang, it's rare to see this Jessica. Can we treat her to you at noon today? Zhang Chen said yes, can I follow him to get some help? Shentu Hanjian said, of course. Wherever our women's army goes, Hong Changqing won't follow us. During the meal, this large group of women were laughing and noisy. When they returned to the company to make orders, they were still laughing and noisy. It wasn't until they left that Zhang Chen felt that the world suddenly became quiet. Su Kioxin smiled and said, boss, have you had a big fight? Zhang Chen said yes, with so many women together, there was no peace at all. Now I feel sorry for Hong Changqing. Su Kioxin laughed and said, look, the lover of your dreams is so happy. Zhang Chen looked at Jessica. As expected, Jessica's face was filled with a smile that could not be concealed. No wonder, with so many factories implemented, it was impossible for her not to be happy. In the evening, she and Su Kioxin signed the formal contract, and everything in Hangzhou was over. Tomorrow, she would go to Ningbo to negotiate with a foreign trade company there. That foreign trade company had nothing to do with Zhang Chen and the others. But Xiao Wu and Su Kioxin will send Jessica there. After returning from dinner, Su Kioxin and Jessica sorted out the contracts on the conference table in Zhang Chen's office. The printer printed out a thick stack of more than 20 contracts, with each item number and number on each contract. Both people have to check the amount and delivery date carefully, which is still a lot of work. They were busy there, so Zhang Chen walked out. He walked to the e-commerce department to have a look, chatted with Xiao Li and Li Wei, and then walked to Xiao Wu's room. The two of them sat and smoked. Zhang Chen's chin dropped. I checked Lu Ligan's room and asked Xiao Wu. The Pole didn't even come back to get anything. How dare he come back? He knows that if he comes back, I will definitely tie him up, Xiao Wu said. Zhang Chen shook his head. This guy doesn't know what he is doing. Actually, Sister Zhen is still very worried about him. During the few days I was there, Sister Zhen told me about Brother Gangzi every day, Xiao Wu said. Zhang Chen said, I know, if these two people weren't interested in each other, they would have gotten married a long time ago. There are a lot of people chasing behind both of them. This time the Pole is coming back, we have to tie them together. Xiao Wu said yes. Thank you to Robin Granite, Kankanshan Shui, and Reader 11963189776326411024 for your monthly votes. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all a happy life.